Welcome back to pjnet.tv. I'm Coach Prasick, and we are so glad to be here. Hope everything's okay on YouTube. They seem to be having a little delay or a little lag, but we're going forward. I know they're working. I'm looking at the stuff here. pjnet.tv is a platform where everyday Christians share their walk with Christ. And we've had some 348 guests, but I'll be honest with you, one of the first people to get on board, to be at the tip of the spear, is with us tonight, Dell Didway. And Dell has been part of pjnet.tv since, well, I hate to even go back and look at. That's been a while, hasn't it, Dell? How long ago? You want me to look it up?
4 years probably.
Something like that. It's been quite a ride. And, you were just getting started, really, so to speak, although you came out of the starting blocks like you were shot out of a cannon in your writing career. And it has flourished but it doesn't stop there, because writing is not all that you do. Yeah, I can't keep up with all that you do. You're home, and that strikes me as odd. You're home. You're not in a hotel room. Why?
I'm just home this week. No, writing's just it's a hobby. So whether it's devotions or books or sports writing or feature writing for magazines, it's a hobby. It was my first job right out of college, actually. I was a sports writer for a local newspaper, and did that for several years, or loved it. I mean, loved it. It was a great job and fun, and it was back when newspapers were real. And I worked at the Portsmouth Times, at the Portsmouth Daily Times here, and it would come out in the afternoons. It was afternoon paper, and it was big. It was a big deal. It was great circulation, and there was a great newsroom. It was fun. We'd come in and I'd go upstairs, and we had five full-time sports writers. We had like 12 or 13 general assignment news writers, and it was the hub. I mean, it was fun. And then as time and the internet has kind of destroyed newspapers.
Yes.
It really has. But so everything's online now, and if you do get a printed copy of a paper, it's as big as like a little tabloid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first job. It was probably one of the funnest jobs I've ever had. Was when I was a sports writer here in town, and so I still do that for them, the same newspaper, but it's more of a freelance type of a deal now, which it's fun for me. It was fun then, but it's still fun. But today it's just a hobby.
How old are you when you started that?
Right out of college. I mean, I was
really
22-ish, 21, 22, 22, something like that. I mean, yeah, I graduated college, and then was kind of helping out with our local at our local college in their sports department, in their athletics, and then got to know the sports editor of the newspaper, and he gave me a part-time job at first, and it turned into a full-time job, and that was a long time ago. So it was fun.
Well, the changes that have occurred. I mean, if you went back to that facility today and went to if there even is a second floor, how many there were 5 full-time sports writers. How about today?
There's a sports editor, and there's a sports writer. So they have 2, and they work nonstop. And then the building is still there, but it's empty. And we had our own print. We had our own print there. We would print there, and it was really neat. And the advertising department, it was a busy place. I used to have to be in there at about 5 a.m. every day, and help put it out, help put our sports section out, and we would lay it out right there and send it down to the printer, and I'd get done around 11 or 12 in the around noonish,
Hmm.
and then go home, and typically I would have an event to cover that evening.
Hmm.
Basketball, volleyball, football,
Whatever.
baseball, something going on,
Hmm.
and then go in the next morning and start over again. But it was fun.
Well, that's a pretty good. That's a dream come true. Get right out of college and do something that you love so much, and having done it for so long,
Yeah.
you've been blessed in so many ways. But today, you're doing something entirely different, and I hear so many good things about the organization that you're affiliated with. But tell us what you can about what your your day job is.
Oh, well, my day job is my rate is sometimes the evening jobs, but I work for Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Been there coming up on a year now, and really and love it. It kind of fell in my lap, but what I do is I have 4 states I cover. I have Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and I'm in donor ministry. Um, so I go to our partners and minister to them. Either first of all, I thank them, and then I update them on what's going on, and have any prayer needs. We pray with them. We tell them what's going on within the ministry, and what events are coming up, and just invite them to be a part of those things. And so that's what I do. It's a blast. I see roughly 8 to 12 people a day, and
That many.
yeah, on a good day, I'll see 12 people. Yeah,
Individually.
yeah,
You're booked.
yeah. But
It must be good, when you're partnered with something as big and as huge and as influential as the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. I guess these people, I don't want to say they're privy, but when they get to find out things that maybe we don't know about until a little bit later. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but just maybe some more in-depth information. You know, because there's not. I mean, they're pretty transparent about what's going on, but what events we're planning.
Planning.
We're gonna host some events coming up. I know it's official. Franklin going to be on another little God Loves You tour. I'll say little. It'll be on another God Loves You tour coming up. We'll be involved with those stops and have to go. Talk to folks about coming out and being a part of it, and inviting them to be a part of it. So it's a fantastic job for anybody who likes to either meet with people or talk with people and just love on them and appreciate them.
Hmm.
And it's a whole lot better than when I was in pharmaceutical sales for 17 years.
Yeah, the people you go visit now are actually glad to see you coming.
Exactly. So,
That's culture shock.
and I still, I still do sports writing on the side as a hobby. I still write books because I have a lot of time in hotel rooms, so I'm able to write things and
Mm,
get things going there. So
that's
it's
good.
it's a perfect job.
I remember, and let me see, try to remember the first recollection you have of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, because I remember when I was a child, my parents were riveted to that television that only had 3 channels, and you remember all that.
Yeah, I
And
do.
to this
Yeah.
day, I can remember the Billy Graham, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah.
Right. It was yeah. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I wonder what. Well, and I remember when Billy Graham came out with his book titled "Unto These Hills,"
Yeah.
and I wonder, now that they're headquartered in Charlotte, it makes you wonder sometimes. What it's like. Get out of Minnesota, please.
Uh, that was a good move, I guess. Uh,
Well, for the weather, if nothing else. I mean, there's other
yeah,
reasons, but
it gets pretty cold up there. I've been up there once, and that was enough. So
you are planning a trip to Rome in the not too
yeah,
distant future.
it's coming up. Angie and I are actually doing that. The Babbel.com. We're learning Italian. Um, just so we're learning it enough to get by. We're
Right.
not going to code whole conversations, but we want to be able to, say nice things to them, and thank you, and grazie, and things like that. So we want to be able to converse on a semi-intelligent level with them. So we're learning that. It's coming up in about less than 2 months, I believe now. So we're going as part of the Serious Writer conference there in Italy, and it is a full house. And then so yeah, we're going there we leave on the first or second week in March, and we're there about 10 days. So looking
And
forward to it.
now the conference, is what, 5 days? I'm trying to remember, but you're going to stay a little. You're going to stay a little extra.
Yeah, we're going to stay about 4 days extra, and just visit Rome, and we're going to go up to Venice for a day as well. So we're going to do conference here and there, and some touring by ourselves. So I already talked to Bethany and Kyle about it. I said, hey, I'm not going to be there the whole time. So,
Have you
and that's
traveled internationally?
never been overseas.
Now you
First time.
almost went to Tokyo.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Tokyo 2 years ago. Um, we're still on tap to go to France in 24. Haven't that's still what we were told, but I haven't spoken with them recently with to go on a mission trip there to the Olympics. So hopefully that'll pan out in 24.
When you say mission trip to the Olympics,
Mhm.
that's not an oxymoron, but it certainly creates some cognitive dissonance. What kind of mission trip can you do at the Olympics?
Well, what I'm supposed to be doing, last I talked to them, was I would be over their media uh, uh, department, whatever, and writing stories about the athletes that we talk to, and from what I've been told, it's like a no sleep thing for 3 weeks, and they're going and ministering to athletes. They're talking to athletes about their faith. Um, it is a mission trip. It's a mission field. It's not and it's just what they like to do. They like to go talk to the international athletes, and
Uh-huh.
so I do that a lot now. But I talk to the ones who have a professed faith, and these are
Hmm.
talking to the ones who don't have a professed faith. So
Well,
yeah.
that was my thought, Dell. When it comes to finding or having conversations on spiritual matters with athletes,
Mhm.
there is nobody on this planet more suited for that than you are. You've got how many books? I've lost track.
Oh, a few. I'm not
A
sure.
few, yeah, yeah. 12,
Yeah.
16.
Okay.
But
But we're getting ready to launch the golf book. We don't have the date. I think it's going to be this year though. This year in 2023. So I think that'll. I'm starting to work on another one here, probably about a week or two.
well, the
We're gonna.
landscape at the Olympics surely would be very different. But how do you decide? You go to these games.
Mhm.
There are many Christians on that field, but we don't necessarily know them as Christians because it's not something that gets a lot of media attention. But that's your mission, and it's what really drew me to you. What kind of recon do you do? How do you do the research? How do you know how to approach somebody as someone who might have something to share about their Christian faith?
Well, I'm pretty confident when I go up talk to the person that I have some evidence. I have some tweets, some. I'll research Sports Spectrum, which I've done articles for, which does the same thing. They talk with. Well, they do it. The Sports Spectrum is a good magazine. I've done several articles for them over the years. Um, so that's one clue. If they've been featured in Sports Spectrum, and I'll read about it, or I'll research 700 Club, or something that of that nature. Or else I'll go down every player on the roster, whoever's in town. I will go down um, on Twitter and go to the profile page And sometimes I see great things, and sometimes you don't. And so
Mm-hmm.
if a guy's got scripture on there or some type of a slogan, there's a good chance. So I'll do some research on that player while I'm up there, watching the game. And if there's an article or two written, I'll say, sure, okay, I can go talk to this guy. And a lot of times I'll talk to the team chaplain as well and ask them.
That's a
So
good one.
that's a great
Yeah.
resource. But I've done that several times with the Steelers, with the Browns, with the Bengals. So, and then I'll ask that player, hey, great, thanks for talking to me. Who else should I talk to on the team? Oh, well,
Oh
talk
yeah.
to such.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's a
they're
salesman in you, Dale. Get a little top
no,
spin.
yeah, you just ask them, is there anybody else on the team? And they'll say, sure, yeah, talk to such and such. And I may not have had any idea about that player. So that's always a good way to do that.
I don't want to just repeat things that have been said, but I know that this weekend you're going to Buffalo, and gosh,
Mhm.
you were just at Buffalo for a game that got cut short. But what God has done with that game that got cut short, I get chill
Mhm.
bumps thinking about it. And you were actually there.
But
What do you think
yeah,
it's going to be like this time?
that was in Cincinnati. That
Since
game was in Cincinnati.
it
Yeah, that game
was
was. Yeah, it was in
okay.
Cincinnati, and we were there. But I think a lot's happened with that. Uh, kneeling now is accepted, which is fantastic because in the past, if you knelt for prayer, Tim Tebow, Allah,
Oh, he was, yeah.
is yeah, you're cast out. But so I think God allows things happen for a reason, and gets the attention somehow. And there's been a lot of stories come out lately where very prominent, well-known athletes up in Buffalo have said, you know, God's real. Maybe he is real. Maybe there is a God there. So I think it's opened the doors for that discussion amongst folks who um, may have doubted or may not have really
Mm-hmm.
believed. But now they say, huh, we watched him die on that field, and here he is now walking around.
And
And so, yeah, so I think you got the attention of people. And then you see, there's, 60, there's like 120 players on that field kneeling.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if all of them believed in God or Christ, but for a while, they probably did. They were praying to somebody, right?
That
And everybody was kneeled, so praying.
shamelessly, and humbly.
Yeah.
And what fascinates me is when you look at the media attention that's been given this. Even the media is acknowledging that this. I haven't heard them use the word miraculous, but they're using every word but miraculous. I think that even they acknowledge that something special happened here that at the time seemed so tragic, yet today offers so much hope.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the word miracle a few times on that with various other outlets, but because you really can't say it wasn't. They can't explain it. There was some great things that happened. I mean, he was, the medical team was on him within 5 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
and within 10 seconds they were doing CPR on him. So that was a miracle right there. If it happened to you or I in a supermarket or something like that, we're probably done. But
I, One of my fears is if I died, I'm not sure anybody would notice until my body began to stink.
just for a few days. So, and then I think so. We'll be up there in Buffalo Sunday, and hopefully it's a good game. But I think rightfully so, they'll use this. They'll capitalize on, and I probably believe, in my opinion, that DeMar Hamlin will probably be in the building somewhere, probably up in a suite, because last game he was home watching it, and I think it wouldn't surprise me if he's there watching from a suite, and they show him on the camera and the screen, and the place will go bonkers, and that'll give a little bit of extra
Mm-hmm.
meaning to the word home field advantage. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, that's my guess. I don't know if he will or not, so I have no way to know that. It's just my guess is that he'll be there somehow.
After the shock of the event,
Hmm?
my first thought once I kind of came down off that emotion is that his days with the NFL are absolutely over, and they will offer him a package to keep him quiet, and he's set for life. You want to speculate?
No, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing they did. I don't know if they'll keep him quiet for anything. There's no reason to keep him quiet. I don't believe, but
Well, to keep him
I
from
don't know.
suing for something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't, they got to determine why it happened first. I don't know. So I don't think it's anything they could have done or did or just happens. I mean, there's been several players. I think we spoke about this last time that died during the game and during the practice. I mean, you had Hank Gathers died right on the right on the court. Lynn Bias passed, and so you got several athletes who have died playing the game, and and he died, but he was brought back and for a reason. So I had never met him or talked to him. Probably won't be able to. I don't
Not
know.
now.
Uh, I don't think he'll be downstairs in the locker room. So, but I look for. Hopefully, it's a good game. Hopefully, it'll be a good atmosphere. I've never been to Buffalo, so I'm looking
Really?
forward to going to that stadium. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope it's above zero. I don't know what the weather outlook is.
Forecast is snow, but like in the high 20s, so it'll
Ah,
be tolerable.
yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be tolerable in that press booth.
Yeah, I
So,
hope so.
so one of the things that impresses me, I always get a kick out of watching your timeline on Facebook, because anytime you're in the press booth,
Yeah,
it looks to me like you're treated like a king. They don't
they
just
are.
bring you a sandwich, and some crackers. they,
No,
they
they go
heap the
on.
hospitality on you guys.
Yeah, it's it's done right everywhere we go. They take care, and there's a lot of people up there. I mean, Sunday in Cincinnati, that's the fullest I've ever seen that press box. There was no seat left. It was, and these press boxes are big. I mean, they can hold 300-400 people,
Mm.
and maybe more. I don't know. I haven't counted them, but there's typically 3 to 4 rows of about you know 60-70 people. So, and some of them are bigger. I mean, Dallas, the Cowboys media box was huge, and Tampa's was big. So, yeah, they do take care of you. It's first class treatment all the way. They take care of you, but you're there to work, and you got to play by their rules too.
Yeah, it must be miserable. So you driving or flying into Buffalo?
I'm gonna drive. It's not that far. It's about 6 hours. It's about 5.5, 6
Oh,
hours.
piece of cake. Piece of
Not
cake.
bad.
Just a walk in the park. Nothing to it.
Yeah, I can
Well,
do that.
Well, Dell, it'll be, let's see now, I guess we probably need, well, no, okay, it'll be next month before we see you again, but it won't be March. And I can't wait to hear what happens between now and then. But Dell, you've been very faithful. And from the very early on, you could see a vision, I mean, and getting to know you as I have, as Christians, whether
Mhm.
you're an athlete or whether you're a nobody. I've got a sermon on being nobodies.
Yeah.
Every Christian has a story to tell, and you have dedicated your ministry and your labor and your talents to finding those stories and bringing them to the public, and we admire that so much. And can't wait to hear what you got for us next month, Dell. I'm glad to see you home, and enjoy it until you get back on the road.
Thank you.
All right. Dell Didway here on pjnet.tv. Always stories. Dell would make a great grandfather, wouldn't he? He's the world's most interesting man. Wow, what a night it's been. Thank you for joining us, especially those of you in the pjnet.tv chat room. For those of you watching this on YouTube or Rumble and all that, we so appreciate it. But we also would invite you to join the family and the fellowship at pjnet.tv. You can actually watch the same program there with some new friends you haven't met who want to friend you on Facebook and follow you on Twitter. Yeah. Before I leave, we'll do this again tomorrow. Can't wait. Sherry Lynn Bispano will be one of our guests, and she always has something. I'm sure it's going to be pre-recorded because it is Sherry Lynn, right? But until then, between now and then, I have two questions that I ask myself, and they challenge me. And I think I'm a better, it's helped me in my Christian journey. So I thought I'd share them with you. Two questions. Ask yourself and answer yourself honestly. Number one, what is the boldest thing that you have ever done in the kingdom of Christ? Second question, when was that? See, the challenge is to never be satisfied with either answer.